Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? Those are the 3 questions I hear the most when anyone brings up a high-end OLED gaming monitor. If you're still on the fence about the LG Ultragear OLED 32GS95UV, stick around. I'll walk through what it feels like in a real desk setup, where the money really goes, and which kind of player will actually notice the difference. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the environment this screen lives in. A 32-inch 4K panel is a sizable piece of real estate, and it demands a desk that can handle both the width and the weight of a monitor that's essentially a thin TV. Most people I've spoken to who upgraded to a 32-inch OLED said they had to move their monitor arm or clear out a couple of speakers to make room. If you're gaming from a cramped laptop table, this isn't the place to start. On the other hand, if you already have a dedicated gaming station with a sturdy stand or wall mount, the size becomes a real advantage. You get a field of view that rivals a small TV while staying close enough for your eyes to track the action without straining. The most obvious draw is the OLED panel itself. Because each pixel lights up independently, the blacks are truly black, and the colors pop in a way that a standard LED just can't match. In practice, that means a horror game like Resident Evil Village looks like you're actually standing in a dimly lit hallway, and a bright racing title such as Forza Horizon 5 feels more like a sunrise over the track than a flat screen. The DCI-P3 98.5% coverage gives you a palette that's close to what you'd see on a cinema screen, which is a big plus for anyone who also watches movies or streams content on the same monitor. Now, speed matters to gamers, and this model pushes a 240Hz refresh rate with a 0.03 milliseconds gray-to-gray response time. In side-by-side tests with a 144Hz panel, fast-paced shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare showed noticeably less motion blur, especially when you crank the refresh rate to the max and enable the variable refresh features. The combination of AMD FreeSync Premium Pro and NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility means you can pair it with almost any modern GPU without worrying about tearing. In day-to-day use, that translates to smoother scrolls through your desktop, less stutter when you're dragging windows around, and a more consistent experience when you switch from a game to a spreadsheet. But speed isn't the whole story. OLED panels have a well-known quirk: they can be vulnerable to burn-in if static UI elements stay on the screen for too long. LG includes a pixel shift feature that moves the image subtly every few minutes, and the monitor also has an automatic log luminance limiter that dims bright static logos. For most gamers who spend their time in fast-moving titles, that safety net is enough. However, if you plan to use the monitor as a primary display for productivity, think of a trading desk with constant ticker symbols or a CAD workstation with toolbars that never move. Those static elements could become a risk over years of use. That's the hidden trade-off many overlook when they focus solely on the dazzling picture. Let's talk price. The Ultragear OLED sits in the high 3-4-figure range, which is a chunk of cash for a monitor. The value proposition hinges on 2 things: the visual fidelity you actually notice, and the longevity of that experience. If you're a competitive esports player who lives for the few extra frames per second, the 240Hz panel will shave milliseconds off your reaction time, but you might already have a 144Hz IPS with a lower price that feels just as responsive. The OLED advantage shines most when you care about image quality beyond pure speed: cinematic gaming, color-critical work, or anyone who wants a TV-grade picture on a desk. Who should buy it? I'd say the sweet spot is a serious PC gamer who also enjoys media consumption and possibly does some content creation that benefits from accurate colors. If you have a graphics card capable of consistently pushing 4K at high frame rates, say an RTX 4080 or higher, you'll actually see the monitor's potential. It also fits streamers who want their on-screen background to look as good as the game they're playing, because the OLED's true blacks make a clean keying setup easier. Who should skip it? If you're a casual player who mainly does indie titles, Minecraft, or older games that don't push 4K resolution, the jump to a 32-inch OLED is probably overkill. Budget-conscious buyers who are comfortable with a solid 144Hz IPS screen will get a great experience for a fraction of the cost. Also, anyone with a tight desk space or a habit of leaving static UI elements on screen for hours like a massive toolbar in Photoshop might want to look at a high-refresh IPS or a mini LED panel instead, just to avoid the long-term burn-in risk.